helps. So if we can continue on that realm, I think this team can continue to get better.
Okay, so first conference game, you learn a lot, and you're going to keep improving, but what did you take away from this one?
My biggest takeaway is that LSU has to start the ball game fast.
Yeah.
We've seen this now against Florida State, against Mississippi State. You can't play strong in just the second half.
You're right.
Especially in SEC play. The offensive line, they played better in the fourth quarter, really controlled the line of scrimmage. The more reps together, the better the continuity will grow. It'll be great. But can I do this? Hand clap for Matt House in the house. What a defensive performance, holding State to just 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
I did not expect that type of performance, and even more so, holding them to just 200 yards below their average.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really expected that type of defensive performance.
I think I saw a stat where in the second half, before that final drive at least, they had like 67 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It was in that range. Like, they shut them down there in the second half. You talk about conditioning on the defensive side of the ball as well. I'll second that. My takeaway, Matt House, he's learning his personnel. Even now. I mean, I think every single game that he's going to call, he's going to learn more and more about his own defense, and I think they really started to find something. Now, we'll see going forward, and I don't think New Mexico, you're going to learn anything new about Matt House, but on the offensive side of the ball, how about getting a play in before 10 seconds on the play clock? Can we do a hand clap for that one, too? Hey, if you don't watch last season, you would have never known that was even possible. Jayden Daniels, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. He got better.
Yeah.
He got better as the game went along. First touchdown pass was late out of his hands. They ran that exact same play on the other side in the second half. He threw it on time, on target. Look, he's not Joe Burrow. Okay, he's not going to see the ball, the field as well, and deliver the ball on time in some spots. But what he is going to do is he's going to make game-changing plays with his legs. So you take the good with the bad, and man, against Mississippi State, at least down the stretch, pretty darn good.
I like how poised he is. He doesn't seem to get rattled, and I think that's something that Tiger fans might not be that accustomed to, what we saw from Max Johnson last year.
Well, it's an homage to Burrow.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted to get out there and get hit. Sometimes Jayden Daniels, you go, you're not even as big as Joe was. You know, maybe you don't do that next time.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, well, we got plenty to go around this show. Of course, we got to take a look around the SEC. Not quite the upset city like last weekend, but we'll take a look around the conference.
And we'll break down the film and actually take you behind enemy lines, talk about those Lobos and the matchup ahead, what they do well, maybe where LSU doesn't have the advantage. But first, did you know, speaking of the Lobos, head coach of the New Mexico Lobos, Danny Gonzalez, played for the Lobos from 94 to 98. His positions, punter and safety.
Interesting.
How about that for a combo? More next right here at the Louisiana Geaux Nation.